I'll call the August 4th, 2025 meeting of the Indianola City Council to order. We'll have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have roll call, please.
Councilmember Reed?
Here.
Raleigh?
Here.
Armstrong?
Here.
Beach? Sims?
Present.
Lane?
Here.
Richardson?
Present. We have public comment. I have about 3 or 4 folks here to speak, so start off with the one that we received online first. A reminder, please keep your comments to about 3 minutes, if you would, please. And we won't be able to respond to that, but there are some items on the agenda. If you prefer to hold until that time, that's okay too, but as I call your name, if you choose to wait until that item's on the agenda, then that's fine as well. So the first one up will be Mike May. Mike, come up and give your name and address, please.
Thank you. Mike May, 1216 East Franklin, here in Indianola, East Side. I will be speaking to agenda item 8A, which is the animal control issue. But for context, I'm speaking to the 4th strategic priority of the city of Indianola, which is to promote health and public safety. And since March, when I first got involved in this, I posed the question in terms of public safety, and that's what we're talking about. What does a post-Kyakota city of Indianola look like? That narrows to the question, what does a post-Kyakota city police department of Indianola look like? And I guess the most recent comment I'd respond to is, it's a published statement, under any new contract, stray dogs deemed not dangerous and cats will no longer be policed in Indianola. Policed is the correct verb. Later on tonight, when you're discussing item 8A and what to do with the Kyakota contract, unless it's kept firmly in mind, we're dealing with a public safety issue. Your decision tonight has an immediate impact on what has heretofore been good policing of animals in Indianola. And that's the extent of my comment. I realize the House File 718 puts some handcuffs on you, but again, a strategic priority of public health and safety really merits extraordinary effort on your part later tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. As I was handed these, so I don't know if there's any particular order who had them first. Adam Hill, you want to give your comments here?
Adam Hill, 11028 165th Avenue, Indianola. So I was speaking on the Hillcrest median. I don't have the agenda in front of me to know exactly what item that was, but briefly kind of read through that memo. I think there was Snyder and Associates had a memo in there, and my understanding, the way I read that, was kind of talking about leaving that alone and seeing how it progresses through the interim of harvest season. Well, if it didn't really work for planting season, I can guarantee it's not going to work for harvest season, because that's bigger equipment and it's more equipment and it's more process up and down the road. So it needs to be tore out and just put flat. Find another way, like flashing lights, something of a warning sign there for your bikers. I travel that road quite a bit. Very rarely do I see anybody waiting to cross, and I've never seen anybody standing in the middle of it. I would also be curious of how many people have come to you to say, keep it, we need it. How many bikers and trail users have said, that's a very important fact, key thing that we need to have there. So, moral of the story is, if it's left, it probably will get crossed over, and when it does get crossed over, the equipment's heavy. It will take the curb out. It will start to crush concrete. It will happen. If it doesn't get crossed over, they're going to go down 15th Street through Iowa. And I don't think that's the path we want to have farm equipment going right down the residential streets. So I know, I said last time, House File 718 is hand strap some things, but I would dig deep and find, I think it was 50 grand to tear it out. The estimated cost is 50 grand to tear it out. I think it would be worth the time and the effort to go ahead and do that forward. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Roger Woodruff. You're up next.
Roger Woodruff, 8504 165th Avenue, Indianola. I'm sure the intent was for safety when that was put in, and you know, in the drawing, I'm sure it looked good. It just isn't working. I've spent multiple times sitting watching, and I've yet to ever see a biker stop. They'll stop and wait till no cars are coming, and they go across, which to me, I would not want to stop in the middle. I think that's dangerous to stand in the middle. If I'm driving through and all of a sudden you see a little kid there, you know, you panic, you swerve over, you hit the curb, and really could be more dangerous. Like I said, I think the intent was good. It's just not working, and I think it ended up being a mistake. It looked good on the drawing, but it's not working out. And I think it just needs to be tore out and be a lot easier on our equipment. And hopefully that gets done. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger.
Thank you.
Mr. Onstadt, Doug Onstadt, go ahead.
Doug Onstadt, 17658 Illinois Street, Hackworth. I'm here just to reiterate what I said before in front of you guys. And, you know, I went through there today with my baler, which is probably the smallest implement I have. And I had about that much on both sides. I know you guys aren't farmers that I know of and probably not contractors, but this equipment is huge, okay? I mean, huge. Even going down 92 or 65, 69, we take up a lane and a half going through town. And it's just, it was a mistake, and 2 mistakes leaving it aren't gonna fix it. I mean, it needs to be taken out. I know it's 50 grand. I've been on many boards in my life, and I know money's tight, and I know it's a tough thing to do, especially when a mistake was made, to spend another 50 grand to fix it. But it needs done. I mean, it's just ridiculous. And I've lived here all my life. That pavement's been there since 1980. That bike trail, I would assume, I don't know, 25 years maybe. There's never been an incident there. We don't want there to be an incident there. And like I said before when I talked to you guys, I think it's an obstacle. I think it makes it more dangerous because it's hard to see somebody in the middle of that thing and people aren't paying attention. They're seeing that sign. They're not looking for a person. And to me, it's more dangerous. And like I said, I know it costs money, but sometimes you just got to suck it up and do what needs to be done and do the right thing. And we're all farmers. We're the ones complaining. I'm sure nobody else is complaining but the farmers. But the fact is, we have to use that road, or we have to go all the way around 92, all the way through town, and it just doesn't work. I was driving today going north, and it was fine at 3 o'clock when I went. I got across. I got done bailing at 5 and tried to get back on the highway to go south. It's ridiculous. And I know they want a stoplight at Walmart and every other stoplight, and you can't put them everywhere. But something's got to be done to slow that traffic down. I mean, there were so many cars that almost hit me in the butt coming down through there. It's ridiculous. People don't pay attention. And to me, that being in the middle makes it even worse because they're looking at that. They're not looking at a person waiting over here or a person sitting in the middle. So once again, I really want you to think about it, and I want you to really think it over. And like I said, I know it's a lot of money, but sometimes we got to do what we got to do. Thank you.
Thanks, Doug.
Thank you.
Again, if you folks wish to speak at the, after we get through some of the opening remarks and things on the item on the agenda, you're more than welcome to do that. So just let us know that you want to do so. With that said, we will go on to the consent agenda or any items that we know want to pull.
Yes, item D4.
Okay. Any other items?
D1.
Okay. Anything else? I would take a motion then to approve the consent agenda with the exception of items D1 and D4.
So moved.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Jake, you want to run through those for us, please?
Yep, so D2, approval of ownership and the change of Sodexo management. Item D3, consideration approval of a new liquor license for Quick Trip doing business as Quick Star. That'll be for 1 year starting August 7th, 2025, pending staff approval. Item E, resolution authorizing certification of liens to Warren County Treasurer for purposes of assisting or assessing the cost of nuisance abatements against properties. Stole about $5,000 that would be sent over for collections, primarily related to mowing nuisance abatements. Item F, resolution appointing the City of Indianola representation to the Des Moines and Metropolitan Planning Organization. That would be changing the city's representative from Mayor Richardson to Councilmember Lane. Item G, resolution suspending the requirements of Chapter 400 as it pertains to the Civil Service Commission, certifying a list of names eligible for appointment to civil service. A new law in 2024 allowed the city council to waive this requirement for a 1 year period. This greatly shortens the hiring period from about 135 days down to 35 to allow us to more expeditiously to fill open positions. Item H, a resolution authorizing the purchase of in-car camera systems for the Indianola Police Department using funds from the Prairie Meadows Community Betterment Grant. Authorizes the grant spending to purchase in-car camera video systems. These systems would be replacements for outdated, non-functioning systems. Item I, resolution approving final payment number 9, change order number 6, final acceptance and retainage release for Indianola Industrial Park Plat 3 improvements. Change orders for about $20,000, regrading the southern right of way. Total project cost of nearly $2 million with $1.8 million in construction and $200,000 in engineering. Sufficient funds are available to cover the cost of the project. Item J, resolution approving an amendment to an agreement with Snyder and Associates for the Hillcrest Avenue reconstruction project is about a $73,000 increase to account for an increase in the number of working days, environmental documentation, and utility coordination. And then item K, approving some salaries. We do have a step increase for a union employee as well as longevity consideration for another employee in there.
Thank you. Any other questions from staff or from council?
I just have a question, is it, and this is just something, learning thing for me, is it normal for these liquor licenses to come pending staff approval?
I would say, Brian, if you want to take that one, otherwise I can chime in on it.
Yes, all the liquor licenses, applications go to the police department.
Fire department as well.
But typically, the staff review would be done in advance of coming to city council.
So it's not typical for them to come here before staff approves it?
It would not be the standard practice, no. Typically, they would have staff review in advance.
It's not completely atypical though either. We've done that in the past.
No, not atypical, not typical either. It can happen from time to time, but not the norm either.
And if staff has an issue with it, then that can clog the works up a little bit too, so. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
That's fine.
Yep. Any other questions? Clerk will call the roll.
Councilmember Lane?
Aye.
Sims?
Aye.
Armstrong?
Aye.
Shelby?
Aye.
Wade?
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Council committee reports.
We got D1 and D4.
Oh, yeah, we might want to do that first, yeah. Item D1, we have a motion to approve.
I just have a question before we do that. States that the application was effective July 26th.
It is in their grand shop approval, so it hasn't completely processed yet, but the effective date is obviously passed, so it's.
Was that, but we just got this from them, do we know?
I don't know when
For the
we
license.
received it, but it's in process, so. Staff hasn't fully approved it yet either.
Okay.
We'll have to inspect.
Yeah, because it struck me as curious that we were just getting it when it was the 26th of July that it was effective. I'm not opposed to it, I just didn't know if there was some particular reason that it was still.
Yeah, just their insurance hasn't approved it yet, so
Okay.
staff hasn't processed it yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure.
You want to make a motion then, Bob?
Sure. So
So-
moved.
I'm sorry,
ahead.
so it would still have the effective date of July 26th? Or would it change
It would change, yeah, depending on.
when everything's
Once-
approved?
Yeah, once it was approved, I would assume.
I just wanted to clarify. Thank
Yeah,
you.
Yeah, Thank you.
Motion, have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ray?
Aye.
Bobby?
Aye.
Armstrong?
Aye.
Stones?
Aye.
Ling?
Motion carries 5-0. Item number 4, consideration of approval of device retailer permit for SKF Inc. doing business as iTown or Stop.
Yeah, I pulled this, in our last conversation with iTowner, there was some concern about the sale of these devices and it not being for the purpose of what they have claimed. And so I don't know if anyone wants to speak on that.
Mayor and council, I can give just a brief overview on the topic if that would be.
Great. Is that okay?
So the device retailer permit is required for businesses wishing to sell device made in whole or part in glass or metal that are designed for use in inhaling through combustion tobacco, hemp, other plants, or controlled substances. We've been advised as a staff by legal counsel to review this item as it is governed by the tobacco permitting rather than the liquor licensing permitting process. We've also been advised by legal counsel that there's not much guidance on these items. They're relatively new, and it kind of has a mixed bag of other communities with some approving them and some denying them. We do have legal counsel Allison here as well if she wants to add any additional context.
I mean, I think one of the big things is there's no case law yet, so it's not really been challenged depending on how cities are doing it. So I believe like Des Moines has just treated it similar to the tobacco where if they put in the permit and they pay what they're supposed to pay, it gets approved. And then other cities, I can't remember what was the other city. Yeah, they have taken the position that the language in it, which says we may approve, makes it discretionary, so they treat it more liquor license-esque, and they can weigh the determination. But right now, there's no case law in Iowa to really give us any guidance of how you want to move forward. So it's kind of do as you will. It is separate from the liquor license though, so it would be more, while I understand the liquor license issue may be up for appeal, this is certainly timely still for this part. And I'm happy to answer any other questions that I can for you. Like I said, there's just not a lot of case law guiding us. So all we have to go on is the actual statute. Most cities have not yet adopted their own ordinance, so they're just applying the state statute.
Allison, this does not affect their tobacco license though in any way, shape?
Does not affect their tobacco license. It would be a separate approval from that. It would also have no impact on their liquor license, or the denial of that.
What's the age limit at which they can purchase these products?
I believe it is still,
It says 21.
Yeah.
age.
it's higher than the tobacco, but I believe it is 21.
Any, one that would wish to make a motion one way or the other, we can decide how we're gonna move from there, so.
Do we need to make a motion to approve and then,
Well, you can make a motion to approve or make a motion to not approve, is that correct?
That is correct. Because it's been withdrawn from the consent agenda, you can go either way, to approve or deny.
I will make a motion to deny the request.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Just to, is there anything to this? Maybe I missed all the conversation of that, but is it all speculative that there's wrongdoing going on right now with regard to this?
Just given the number of issues that have taken place in this particular business and we have a council person who's witnessed some things personally.
Makes sense. just, again, with the lack of, clear law, I wanna make sure we're very understanding of precedent we're setting here, I guess. Is the right word. I'm a little torn, given some of the, we wanna be safe, we wanna promote good, safe businesses, but with a lack of clear, not arguing, I'm just trying to make it all make sense. Make sure we're doing the right thing here.
I get it, what you're saying. It's, for me, it's the number of calls that we've had there for other things and the way they've conducted business.
Allison, in your opinion, we are well within our rights, though, to deny or approve either one, is that correct?
I think the language of may issue these permits gives you that discretion. I will say if you were gonna ask me to weigh on the side of caution, I probably would say to grant it just because of how black and white a tobacco permit is. And I would put it a little bit more akin to that than a liquor permit wherein we have like a laundry list of items to consider. We don't have that laundry list when it comes to this. That being said, I think may makes it discretionary for the city council.
And one more question for you. My understanding is that even though Councilmember Beach is not here tonight, a 3-2 decision would be in an affirmative call, is that correct?
Correct.
So we've got a motion, a second?
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that clarification. That's my kind of hang up here is making sure that, again, knowing that tobacco licenses are handled a lot differently than alcohol. And we've had a lot of discussion and things about the alcohol.
Well, and I certainly, I might have a bit, council-wise, I probably am a little bit more conservative because I don't really like my councils to be the guinea pigs for anything. I'm more than happy to do it, but I tend to be like, please don't let it be me that's potentially leading you down the path of litigation. So I think we just don't know yet.
Okay, with all of that said, I would like to withdraw my motion, given that discussion.
Wait a second.
Yeah, I can withdraw my second.
Okay. So then we need a motion, folks, on this.
I'll go ahead and motion that we approve the permit for the whatever devices they have.
Okay. Device retailer permit for SKF doing business as
I don't swim in those waters, so.
Okay, do I have a second? A motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Rabe,
Aye?
Lane,
Aye.
Stones,
No,
Armstrong.
Aye.
Dalby,
Aye.
Motion carries 4-1. We are then, so the permit is approved. On to council committee reports. Reports for committee members. Okay, with that then, we're going to move to the approval of the appointment of Paul Cravens to the Indianola Board of Trustees for a term beginning immediately and ending July 1, 2031. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Rabe,
Aye.
Dalby,
Aye.
Armstrong.
Aye.
Stones,
Aye.
Lane.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-1, and I get the honor of swearing Paul into that office. So, Paul, if you want to come on up and stand up here.
I would just like to thank Paul for
Yes.
stepping forward to fill this seat and taking on the 6-year term.
Where would you like me to stand?
Well, we'll get right up about where you are right there. So I'm going to give you something here that I think is We'll talk about this in a minute, so, okay? So, face me, if you would please, and raise your right hand, okay? I, Paul Cravens,
I, Paul Craven,
do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and the Constitution of the State of Iowa,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
and that I will faithfully and impartially,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
discharge all duties
discharge all duties
of a Board of Trustee member
of a Board of Trustee member
for the Indianola Municipal Utilities
for the Indianola Municipal Utilities
of the City of Indianola, Iowa,
of the City of Indianola, Iowa,
as now or hereafter required by law.
as now or hereafter required by law.
Congratulations, Paul. All right, so, for those of you who don't know, Mr. Craven's grandfather was our police chief here for a number of years ago, Vince Pemble. We were able to dig that out of our files, and of course, your grandfather's smoking a cigar as usual. But we want to thank you, but again, thank you, as Melissa said, thank you for putting your name forward, so.
Thanks.
And I know Melissa would like to get a picture with you. I'll get you a picture here first, but then turn around and face.
Yeah, I'll have you guys come forward, that we don't get the reflection in your glasses.
There we go, here we go.
Come up in front of the TV.
Oh, in front
rather.
of the TV,
Yep.
all right. Getting pretty particular here.
Hey, man, try to be efficient.
All right, we're good.
Right
We're
there,
good.
perfect, here we go, guys, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, perfect.
Thank you. Melissa? Come on up.
So we'll go real quick, here we go, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, perfect.
Okay, Paul, I've signed,
One more photo.
oh,
Mayor,
one
if I-
more. Yeah, you got a couple folks here who want to do it too. That's fine. Go right ahead.
We're part of the IMU boards, we're not just randoms.
Anybody else just taking a
It would add flavor though. It's just.
One of you on one side, one of you on the other side.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1,
Trying to fill that seat.
perfect.
Seven.
All right, we're not quite done with you, Paul. Ready to sign this?
Thank you.
You get to sign this. You would, right there. And that is yours to keep. We're official.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
And hopefully you'll get all the packet of information for next Monday night meeting, is that right? All right.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you again, Paul, appreciate that much. All right, so we are on to old business, and so we are on to the discussion and direction regarding Hillcrest pedestrian median. Who's taking that for the staff?
Mayor, did you want to do a community update?
You know what, that would be a good idea. I get so excited with him being there, that's great. I love the picture that Aaron Hurt provided us too. I just want to say thanks. We had a great, successful fair, I think. A lot of folks were in attendance and things went very well and appreciate it. It was good attendance from what I understand. I saw you at one of the concerts. I mean, you were there, so awesome. Another great balloon event, large numbers. Drone program was excellent, as well as watching the balloons fly over the different parts of Indianola. So, second thing I want to mention is tomorrow night, and if any of the farmers in here want to talk about this too, it'd be great. But we have a truck route meeting tomorrow night at 5:30 at the Activity Center. We are putting together a truck route policy for the city of Indianola and would appreciate to have public input. And if there's anything else that you want to add, city manager, that'd be great.
Save it for my report.
All righty, there we go.
Mayor, can I?
Absolutely, go right ahead.
I just want to thank everyone who participated in the Celebrate Warren County Parade. We had a great turnout, and both IMU and some city staff participated, so thank you. Thank you to the police department for providing great escort and bringing up the end, and fire was in there as well. The kids always appreciate that.
I also thank you for that reminder too. I just want to say, I think the art fair at Buxton Park was a great turnout. And also the dedication, if I'm not mistaken, of the Buxton gazebo and the gazebo park there was awesome too.
Yes, that was great.
they did the work on it.
Absolutely. A lot of good things going on. Okay. We good now? We'll move on then. We'll go to discussion regarding the Hillcrest pedestrian median.
Mayor and Council, AP Public Works Director. Snyder and Associates, our engineers, has completed a evaluation of multiple alternates for the median located on Hillcrest Avenue. As part of that, they have looked into removing the median. They've looked into grinding the median where it'll be a slope curb, 4-inch. Currently, it's a 6-inch standard curb where it's not you cannot navigate on top of it. A sloped curb would allow for larger equipment to navigate on top of it. Third option was to completely remove that, make a narrower median, which allows for wider equipment to go in between the lanes. And then we have also looked into alternates for installing a flashing beacon style item. So some of the cost varies from the first option was removing the median was $57,000. The second one was modifying the existing median with a 4-inch sloped curb was for $50,000. Then the third option for reconstructing the median was with mountable curbs was for $60,000. And then finally the flashing beacon was $145,000. After reviewing these estimates, both Snyder and city staff think the prices were unreasonable for grinding the curb. So the recommendation that both staff and Snyder staff is recommending is that Snyder and Associate will directly be responsible for grinding the curb, and city and Snyder staff will be evaluating and monitoring the curb. So basically, it'll be ground at no cost to the city with a 4-inch sloped curb where it's mountable. And this is with the hope that all equipments, larger equipment, mostly agricultural equipment, can mount over the curb. So that is the option we are presenting, and these are just the staff recommendation. We are ready to go with any of the alternate that council selects. I have, Dave, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I guess just a little bit of kind of how we got here and where we are. I think the gentleman that spoke earlier is correct. The intent is for pedestrian safety. We prioritize pedestrian safety. It's not like we did it in the dark. We had multiple meetings and including a public meeting. And again, sometimes drawing on a page is hard to understand what that is. We appreciate the significant out of direction travel. I think that's somewhat unique, and I think that's one of the drivers for the Willowcrest project is just the lack of connectivity north of Hillcrest. There's a 3-mile out of direction trip around, so that's significantly that's a significant impact. Some of the prices were driven by this is a STBG funded project. The work is not the typical work of Sternquist. Is not a patching outfit. They're a paving outfit. So for them to work this in and have the traffic control guys come down, the prices were just not very good, partially because they were maybe not the best contractor for the work. So we looked at the alternative of maybe seeking other subcontractors to come in and get us a better price. But this is a STBG project, so we'd have to get pre-approval of any different subcontractors. So it became pretty complicated, which is kind of an added complexity. That's where we proposed, we like the geometry of the median. We like the pedestrian safety components of it. We like the traffic calming components of it. I mean, one of the concerns that we have is transitioning traffic from a rural environment coming into an urban environment. We want to it's nice to have a method of some kind to slow that traffic down. We talked about that on K Street and the speeds out there. So those, this is one of the things that has some of those added benefits, not just for this year, but 15 years from now and 20 years from now as both the traffic and the pedestrian traffic grow. So we think that there's an opportunity if it's decided to remove the island or replace it with a narrower island, there might be a better opportunity to have that a standalone project. I think we get it done more efficiently than adding it into the Hillcrest project with all the funding and contractor complexities that faced us. And so if we do that, we'd have to go through a quote process, and which would take some time. So we felt like it was a good step that we could take quickly to mitigate the navigableness of the median and address that issue so that folks could drive right over it. It can take the loading. I'm very confident that it can be driven on. This is not unusual for these kinds of situations, and that would, mitigate that, and then provide the opportunity to close out the Hillcrest project. And then, if we so choose, after another observation period, then we would prepare the quote and redo the things outside of the Hillcrest project. So that's maybe a complexity that's hard to express in the memo, is that we're tied to some contractual things because it's a federally funded project. So that's kind of the go forward plan as we proposed it. But as AP said, if that's the direction we want to go, we can proceed down that pathway.
Dave, so is it my understanding then that you would also take away all of I think there's a couple of signs in the middle there in that pedestrian area, would those come down as well? Because I think that's one of the issues too that some of our farm neighbors are concerned about too, is, not only having to get up on a curb, but also taking out those signs if they're still there. And so would those come out as well?
They sure could. Those object markers were made to be run over. And I can't remember, Caleb has the number of times they can be run over before they're damaged. But again, we were also introducing a new element, so we wanted to draw attention to the fact that there was a median there. I think my preference would be the object markers would go out, and we would add some additional paint and kind of take that, give it some target value with some yellow paint. And then we would also grind the curbs on the outside so that the rescue equipment won't damage its exhaust system.
So just from my perspective, and I guess I don't have a vote on this whole thing, but just from my perspective, then what you're saying essentially is they'd be able to mount that center portion as well and the outside curb then if they had to. Is that what I'm hearing?
Correct. So if there's an emergency vehicle that wants to go up the trail, the choice there, if you make that easy to do, guess what? Everybody's going to do it. So if you make that look like an entrance driveway and make it easy for a vehicle to sweep in there, then we'll probably end up putting a bollard in there, and bollards are to stop other traffic. So then now you have a bollard you have to deal with.
Yeah, but I'm just saying though that, just want to be clear, and what I understand here though is that if we take out the signage in the middle on that median, they could literally theoretically, and it is mountable though, or is that correct? The median would be?
Yep. It'd be mountable on the front, at the sidewalk, and at the back.
Okay.
So basically the whole edge would be mountable.
Thank you. I'm sorry, I took up questions here. You folks have any questions for Dave or AP?
Yeah, so I just want to make sure I'm clear. We're talking, so are you able to put the mock-ups up on the screen?
Yeah.
Just so everyone in the audience can know what we're talking about as well.
AP, plug that cable in.
dip in that, wouldn't they? So I'd mount that and then go back up over
In the middle.
the. But it's also got this, so you mount it, but then you'd have the sidewalk.
Yeah, that's what I was trying. Tractors today that have the tracks. Difficult for them.
Taking it down to 4 inches, you know, navigate it then with their equipment, is that what he's suggesting?
That's what he's saying.
If you look at like alternative 2 AP,
Yep.
In fact, I know they don't.
so literally we would just be grinding so that picture up on the right, we would be grinding all the way around the median or that sloped curb. And if we remove the signs, I mean, I think that would allow the farmers and their equipment to drive over it and through. I mean, I would like to hear what the farmers had to say about that, but I think that would be a fix that I think would work.
I think what the farmers are saying is this doesn't work for them. It's still damaging to their equipment.
I'm not trying to be rude or anything, but I mean, it's just, it's a slope, you know, I mean, they're driving through fields with ruts and stuff all the time. I mean, this is a smooth concrete curb that you could ride your bike up, I guess, so I guess I don't know what the.
Speed hump. This is like a driveway. Like in your driveway, you know how the curb drops down, it's pretty close to that.
Are any one of you willing to come up and speak now that it's been explained?
I understand that they're trying to find a fix. But the problem is, number one, grind it down. Most of our equipment nowadays are tracks, which is a whole lot different than tires. So when you go on a track and you go up over, it's very rough, okay? And I don't care how slow you go, because the tracks don't take the absorption that the tires do. Okay, so it's almost like concrete against concrete when you go up over that with tracks, okay? The other thing to me that makes no sense, I mean, I understand taking the signs out, I'm all for that. But if you're gonna go do that, then what purpose does it serve?
Well, the only thing
Got a median in the front of it
Yeah,
with, and actually, to me, it's more dangerous. Because people that don't know that road aren't gonna see that. And they're gonna hit that at 40 mile an hour, and if they're in the wrong spot, texting or gawking around, they're gonna go up and over that with their cars. Okay? We see it happen all the time, going over curbs. So to me, you know, once again, I hate to keep there, but the only way to fix it is take it out. I mean, you can go to all this other expense and do this and that, and be back here in 6 months, and everybody's still mad, and we gotta take it out. You know, it's just, that's the only way to fix it, in my opinion. And like you said, grinding it down will help, but it's not gonna fix it. And taking the signs out will help, but that defeats the purpose of having the median if there's nothing there to notify people it's there.
Don't disagree with you. The only thing I was gonna suggest and tell you is that they're trying to present a relatively no-cost option.
I understand.
And you don't get that.
I understand.
And then if we wait and we close this out, this project out, then we can go, because it's a federally funded program, we don't have, that's why the costs are what they are.
I understand, Steve.
And so the idea behind that, and I'm not arguing with it, I'm just
No, no, I know you're
explaining
not.
everything
Yep,
here.
yeah. No, my thing is, if that's the case, close it out. But I still can't see why we can't vote to take it out and then go get quotes. You know, if it takes 6 months to get it done, it takes 6 months to get it done. I called Brett Sternquist myself today, and I said, how can that possibly cost $50,000? Well, it's all the hoops you gotta jump
Yeah,
through.
that's it.
So go find somebody else. There's other contractors that'll do it.
Well-
Close out your project and be done with it, and get that part of it done, and then come back and we'll fix it.
So if I hear you correctly, you would be okay with us getting that closed out and then coming back in a few months and taking care of that? Is that what I'm hearing?
Well, I would like to see you vote to do it.
Yeah, no, I
I don't know what
understand.
can stop you from doing that.
But
you know?
I'm just trying to make sure that,
Right.
yeah, okay.
No, I mean, we want to fix, I mean, if it takes 6 months to fix it, then that's fine. I don't think we need to push the can down the road and sit here and say, let's reevaluate it in 6 months. I would rather see you make the decision and go forward with it and let these guys find somebody that can do it for 25,000 or less.
Gotcha.
You know, that makes sense to me. So, thank you.
Thank you, Doug.
I do have a question. If we did say grind it down, would that be done before harvest season?
Yes, we will try to get this ground, the pavement sloped ground before the September is what we'll aim at getting.
And would that benefit anyone? If we did that in the interim, say we gave the directive to do that and then go forward with tearing it out and fixing it the right way?
If it's no cost, then to me, it's a no-brainer to, you know.
It's not no cost, it's our cost.
It's your cost.
Right. So if you're gonna tear it out, then tear it out.
Yeah.
I mean, if you don't want it, then tear it out and away we go. We're not gonna do, you know, to me, that seems like.
Yeah, why have a cost to
Right, right.
Adam, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just want to minimize the number of combines we have going down residential streets.
I got you.
Just a couple more points I wanted to make and kind of rear it with Doug. I think, Ron, you mentioned ditches and fields. Yes, unfortunately, we try not to. We try to solve erosion problems, but unfortunately, yes, we do have ditches to cross. We also slow down to 2-3 mile an hour when we cross that. And tracks, you go across top. I mean, some of those ditches, you could go across 12 mile an hour and not feel the ditch.
I'm great with removing it. I thought you guys wanted it done before harvest, and it sounds like if we close it out and then rebid it for a cheaper amount, you guys are going to suffer for one more harvest season. So.
Right.
I'd be with Doug, like, make a decision if we need to wait till next springs because it could be cheaperly done with a different contractor. And that's still a gain, right? I mean, we can live by this harvest, we'll make it work.
Okay.
But I'm looking at safety. If we gotta slow down to 2 mile an hour to cross that, how many council members and how many staff members on the city hall here have driven a tractor or a combine down the road? Because when you slow down to 2 or 3 mile an hour, guess what people do? They pass.
Yeah.
You can't pass. And they pass you not at, oh, I'm gonna just look out here. I wanna get around this person. Well, that's gonna be an accident. When we have to slow down and cross that, we can get across it. We can take our time and get across it, but then you have that risk. I don't know how many times I've tried to turn left into a farm drive and I'm getting past and I've got to either veer back or they've taken the ditch. It's happened. People are crazy around farm equipment, and when you have that issue of us slowing down to that rate of a speed, somebody's gonna try to pass you to get around you because they don't wanna be anywhere near you. The other comment I wanna make, that is a farm to market road. Now granted, it comes down to numbers, right? That helps fund different projects and things. There's no legalities. The city could do whatever they want to that road and they could close it off to haul farmers, and there's nothing legally that could be done there. But it is a moral concept of, it is a farm to market road, and South K Street's a farm to market road. So when you look at those maps and start to do these projects, you kind of got to take that into a little bit of consideration morally and conceptually on what the process is to be done with that being a farm to market road. So thank you
And
guys.
that's also why I want to make a comment and make sure that you folks know that meeting tomorrow night at the activity center at 5:30, because I think those comments are important for you guys to make.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
And I would just say, as somebody who's been on that trail a lot on a bike, I don't even think about crossing that road if I see a vehicle, because I already had one near miss a number of years ago. And so I talked to a few other people that have been on that trail with me or not. And so from a safety standpoint for cyclists, I don't know too many that are gonna cross that road partway. Does it slow vehicles down? Maybe, but I would tell you most cyclists that I know, and I see a few that are sitting out there, they're going, wait. I do.
Same with your pedestrian traffic too.
Exactly.
My wife and I walk that a lot, and we just wait till traffic's gone and then go across.
I actually surveyed my neighborhood and I didn't get anyone who said that they would stop in the middle of that. And I've also gone and sat in the eyeglass parking lot. I can't remember the name of it, but the business that's right there on Hillcrest. And just out of curiosity, watched the traffic for periods of time. And coming from the east, traffic is moving quite fast. I think the speed limit's 40, if I'm not mistaken, but moving
35, I think it is. isn't it?
35. And yeah, it's moving faster than that. The scariest thing I've seen as I've been sitting there is a dump truck actually hit that thing. And his load kind of went all over the place with gravel. So I'm not sure that it's slowing down traffic either. I know that's what we wanted to do. It might slow down the bigger, like semis and wide loads and the farm equipment, but I haven't seen it slow down the cars at all. And I guess, coming from a farm girl, I would really just like us to make sure that our farmers are able to do their jobs without putting extra miles in when they need to get their jobs done.
So AP, what do we need to do if we want to, we just close the project out and then we go back out and rebid the project? Is that what we do to take it out? Is that what we do?
Yes.
Good.
This one may qualify within the thresholds to not require a formal bidding. Because if it's 50,000 below, it may be below the thresholds, Iowa DOT bid thresholds, to get informal quotes from contractors. And if you remember the sidewalk project that we did last year on Buxton sidewalk, we had an high estimate, but the bids came in significantly lower. They could be local contractors who can do that work.
Thank you. Council, what's your pleasure?
But if I ask
Go ahead.
questions at all?
Sure, yeah, go right ahead.
I'm all for fixing a problem. I think the previous council was told that these were 6-inch roll-up curbs. They're apparently not 6-inch roll-up curbs. So now we're talking about maybe 4-inch roll-up curbs that maybe or maybe don't work. That's fine. So we want to rip the thing out. Great. Why did we put this in the first place, right? Like, because of a bike crossing, and this was the supposed solution to help the bike crossing. So I'm all for fixing it, but are we just in a rush to fix this? Are we taking a minute to account, like, what are we doing for the bike crossing to backfill that part of the project? I mean, if we're giving direction to remove it out, to take it out, we can't just rush to rip it out and not fully fix the issue. So like engineering, like what's the rest of that project? Is the bike crossing not an issue? It never was an issue, but we thought it was, or do we still need to do more to make that bike crossing safe? Because while it is an east-west trafficker for farmers and construction equipment, right? It's a growing bike trail that's supposed to, we've had reports that in a couple of years, it should be 100,000 trips a year on the bike trail. So I don't want us to just rush to want a solution, but like make sure we're looking at the whole solution here, and that's my only question. So great, we rip it out, are bikes fine, or is there more that needs to be done for pedestrians going north-south? What's the part of that solution?
I think that's a great point, Josh.
Appreciate everybody that's in the room, and I truly, truly do, but there's a lot more than just.
I think to that point, it's that crossing, and we also have other crossings of the trail that have been raised as concerns. And AP, I have a question for you. SERPTA sent us just a couple days ago, the flap, it's called the flap. Federal, the 1.3 million that's available. And I was wondering if perhaps we could apply for some of that money to put in some kind of safety measure at the trail crossings.
Sure, I'll need to coordinate with Doug Pyland on that and see what we have. There's always on these, there's a 80-20 match.
Well, this one says there is not a match.
No match, okay. We'll check it out and Doug and I will get back to you on that.
That's my whole thing, like, I don't wanna delay this any longer, but I also don't want to just rush to react because it came up on our agenda that we have to solve it tonight. If there's not a solve, bring a solve. I'm concerned that, to your point, yeah, we've made a hash of some bike crossings around town, like, let's not keep furthering that problem, especially as that's something that I think we're trying to keep moving into. Bringing more of that traffic through town. I would like to find out. We were sold that this was a solution that served everybody. Respectfully, it was supposed to serve farmers, it was supposed to serve construction, it was supposed to serve pedestrians, bicycles, and it's not. So then what really is that solution? I didn't find that in the packet.
And that's not one I think we're gonna know tonight, Josh, quite honestly. Yeah, it's a valid question, I appreciate it, but looking for Dave, those solutions can run the gamut. I mean, just on all the trails I've been on, you've got everything from just the crossing signs that be on the road to the flashing lights or those that are monitored by motion. I personally don't think we need to go to that extent. I think if you can have some kind of slowing measures with signage or whatever, that might satisfy, but I'm pretty cautious in that area anyway. But I think there's probably 1,000,001 different things you could do from that aspect, are there not?
So the big improvement here is the geometry, where you have to navigate a wiggle curve to cross from the bike safety standpoint. And, you know, this is a pretty typical, I mean, these islands are pretty typical. This isn't a crazy solution. I wish it would have had the mountable curves from the very beginning. But it didn't. We had one standard curb in the project and it was the DOT curb instead of I wish we would have changed that. We were kind of afraid of change orders in that day. But that is, that's not an uncommon thing to do. I've also seen them where they groove the pavement well in that area. There's a lot of different treatments. We've done a gazillion of them. We had one of these in Webster City that was as popular as this one. And then it was not very popular. And, they kind of work. But if the council wants us to direct us to do something different, we can do that. But it will be a council direction, so you guys have the tough job.
I don't know, I respect that, Dave, I appreciate it. It's tough, we have a problem, we just gotta fix it, and that's where we rely, I think, on you guys to do it. I'm all for giving direction tonight to start the process of removing it if that's really what we think is the right answer. But I just want to make sure that we are accounting for in whatever decision we make for at least exploring solving the whole problem while we're at it, instead of just rushing to rip it out and then 3 years later, when there's another council, they're gonna be like, what were those guys thinking, leaving us a problem with a bike crossing here.
So I'm gonna suggest maybe that the motion to kind of what you're talking about, your effect of taking it out, but then having AP and staff and Schneider and look at some options, whether it's grooved roads, whether it's paintings, whether it's signage, come back with some suggestions in, you know, in 60 days or whatever the case would be.
Mountable median is our favorite option at this point. I mean, we looked at a number of alternatives. We looked at a signing alternative that just, it gets noisy and, you know, it's easy to ignore and they're not as effective over time. So that's why we came up with what we came up with.
I'm not arguing that. I just hearing what the council is saying here, I'm kind of getting it. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm kind of get a feeling that the idea is we're to take out the median, but we need some other options down the road. To Josh's point of, you know, what are we gonna do? Are we gonna, you know, paint a big yellow section in there? Are we gonna, whatever we're gonna do. But that would be something that I think we take back to staff and let them handle that. I'm just trying to get us to a point where we can make a decision here, so.
So do we have data that 4-inch mountable curbs work with big equipment tracks?
Just that they're out there.
We're asking a lot of questions.
Right, so I mean,
Appreciate that, but-
you know, it's the occasional vehicle as well. I mean, I know it's there every trip, but it's the occasional vehicle. And some equipment does fit. Not everything, but. And, you know, again, when we worked on the Willowcrest extension project, that was really telling just the lack of mobility north of town. And when we have, you know, we start getting some industrial development, we're gonna be challenged because, I mean, that's not Hillcrest is gonna have to play a role that it's not, that it isn't gonna be forever role, but in the meantime, until we get some of those connections made, it's carrying a heavier load than I think the vision of that street is.
So the alternative right now, and this goes back to the truck route discussion that you mentioned, which again, encourage anybody and everybody to go. The alternative right now is we route down 15th and go to Iowa, right? That's the alternative truck route at the moment for big equipment if they can't cross here or don't want to cross here. That's the solution we're given right now, the other alternative.
Yeah, I guess I haven't spent any time on the truck route, so I don't know, I can't.
So this Hillcrest, this section of the trail crossing will serve as a truck route. It doesn't, the trucks can go easily right now. It meets the requirements of the state requirements. It's the farm equipment that's wider than 12 feet that doesn't go there. So trucks are able to fit in that.
The farmers are going down
That's what I mean.
15th in Iowa, or they're taking gravel and going around, which is
Long distance.
the long distance. I think said through
Which is
3
the
to 5
tough,
mimore out of the way.
which is the tough give and take, right? And I don't mean this to sound heartless to everyone that's here, right? It's growing. We, right, to Dave's point, is the more occasional traveler. So we're trying to get to the right solution here of what fits everybody, and that's tough. You've got a road to the point that Dave just made that is probably asked to do a lot of things that maybe it's not intended to do as we grow. I just wanna make sure we have the right thoughts as we make a decision to spend money, not spend money. Clearly somehow we got to this where there's a problem. Don't wanna compound the problem. I don't wanna be inactive, but my concern here.
My direction would be to close a project out, take median out, and have AP and Doug look at the grant money to get some flashing light signage for a crossing.
That's where I was headed to.
Mayor and council, if I may, the flashing light signage, is that $145,000?
But is that for solar signs? I mean, there's gotta be a lot of different options for flashing.
I just wanna make the comment, or just the point too, though, that this is $60,000 that was unbudgeted. We can explore options, but again, those are gonna have additional price tags to it. So I don't want us to lose sight of the city's fiscal situation and all this, because these are funds that were not budgeted. We'll have to work with AP to see where we can find funds to do it, but then to come back with another solution, those are additional dollars that are also not budgeted. So again, I obviously respect the council's direction, but I also want to be reasonable in terms of what is financially prudent in this situation as well.
That's why I said work for the grant. Grant that requires no matching that Melissa brought up.
Well, that is for signage, but,
The signage, whatever signage would be covered under that.
yeah, but they won't, just looking at it, I don't think the tearing out of that would qualify. Or the,
Well, I mean, that's fine. I said it last fall, take it out. So, I mean, that's what I said then. That's what I said the first time it got brought up this year. It's what I'm saying again. Take it out.
I guess I have a question. The recommended solution was, what, 50,000?
The recommended solution
Yes.
was to grind the curbs
Number two.
at no expense of the city, at no expense of the city that Snyder was gonna pay for.
Right, so, my question is, if they're willing to do an option for 50,000, would they be willing to do the removal and us pay the difference?
No. Partly because that is the, I wish it would have had mountable curbs from the very beginning. I can fix that. And that makes sense to me. If you say, nope, we don't want a pedestrian island here, we don't want a pedestrian safety island, that's a totally different decision that's fine, you have the authority to make that, but that it would not be our recommendation. And we'll do as directed. But we wouldn't participate in that because that's not our recommended direction.
I had to ask.
Does that make
Dave.
sense? Yeah, no problem. I totally understand.
I had a feeling that was the answer, but I had to at least try.
Didn't know if you wouldn't ask, that's right, yeah. Folks, let's,
So we have an option that is zero cost that maybe does or doesn't work, depending on Brian opinion at this point. Grants all sound great, but none of them are guaranteed. Is there a world that we can live in where create the mountable curbs, we monitor as proposed here, and then direct staff to pursue grants for a larger project down the road that fixes everything? I don't wanna lose sight of Jake's point that like, the money's gotta come from somewhere. And I agree, I don't wanna kick the can down any farther, it's concerned.
Monitoring got us to this point. Because that's what we decided last fall, was to monitor. And here we are again. How long are we gonna monitor before we actually do something?
I guess my concern is that's been our pattern with a lot of things. We continue to come back and have discussion, and we don't really get anywhere on things. We just come back and reevaluate. We need to get somewhere and move things along. And I'm making that statement on, I guess, a broad statement, not just on this, but a lot of things. I just feel like we haven't checked a lot off of our list, and this is why. Because we wanna perhaps kick this down the road and make a decision.
I don't know you're necessarily, I understand what you're saying, Melissa, but I don't know that we're necessarily taking it down the road if you
Well, we're trying.
try something, I
We're
mean, you're
trying
actually
the
trying something different.
Option two, which we've heard from the farmers who are here,
Yeah.
that option isn't really feasible.
And where's the money gonna come from? I mean, if we go back to Jake's, it's unbudgeted. And we sat through budget talks for a long time.
I know. It's painful.
I would be in favor of grinding them, trying it out and removing these signs, just cause a John Deere combine that says it's about 17 feet, 8 inches wide. So even if you keep a sign in the middle there, it's still gonna be a obstruction for some of the farm equipment. I know it's not the best solution. The best solution would be to remove the curb and find some ways to put in signage for bicyclists and pedestrians, but I also know we don't have the money.
You got an 18-foot wide combine, and the road was what, 12 foot, something like that?
It's 11.
Who the hell's standing in the middle of the freaking pedestrian with an 18-foot combine going down? Isn't that the point of the thing, is for people to stand in the middle? You can't stand in the middle anymore.
Honestly, Steve, no one is standing in the middle.
I know. We're trying to pretend. I mean, we've had the people, I've seen people say, I would never stand there. Bob said it, I would never stand there.
I don't think anyone's saying.
So I gave my direction, so I don't have anything else to add. I give mine.
I tend to agree with Ron. I understand it, and I appreciate what you all said, and can tend to agree with you, but I think it was Doug, so if I misspeak, I apologize up front, that said, you know, if we couldn't get somebody in here before harvest, then just so we know it's gonna get done, that would satisfy. Well, so we're gonna have to negotiate it anyway, assuming that's true. I'm just making that assumption. And I'm the new guy here. I wasn't here when this stuff was discussed. I'll own that. But so if that being the case, why, to what Ron said, would not work where we do try and grind it down? We don't have the cost because you don't know where the money's coming from. See if it works. And then we'll make that decision. I don't view that personally as kicking it down the road because we're trying to move it down the road. No pun intended.
And if it doesn't work, it doesn't satisfy it, the project will be closed out, and then we can put it out for bid and maybe find some cheaper solution.
Take time to actually apply for grants that you know you have in hand before you go down.
So my direction. Close the project out, go get bids. Yeah, exactly my direction, to get rid of it.
We're grinding it down, they're grinding down the median and the curves, is what they're doing. That's not quite getting rid of it.
Which we know isn't gonna work, like we had that discussion last fall. Here we are, so no offense, Bob, but like, yeah, like, you weren't here for it. Oh yeah, we're here again. See you next spring. Sorry, Doug, sorry, Adam, see you next spring. I mean, let's just be real.
Well, we're not certain of that, but at the same time, I think we got direction from what I hear from them, something move different down the road, but I don't have a motion anyway, so.
And it's just discussion and direction.
Adam wants to say something.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Seeing your guys' discussion, if that's, I mean, yes, Doug commented on the fact that if it wasn't done for this harvest, you know, something could be done later. But is there wording, I've sat on a lot of boards too, is there wording that you can put in there it's gonna be brought up next spring to look into
Adam,
this?
can I have you come to the podium? Just, sorry, but that's, we just, so everybody,
The public
people in the audience that are watching online can hear you.
So I mean, I've sat on quite a few boards, not city government or county government or anything like that, but I've been around city and county governments too. Is there a way to word that? I see the motive going, of course, you don't have the money. You're not gonna come up with the money tonight. And if it's going to be, hey, let's grind it, let's get through this harvest, let's go to next spring. Yeah, we're gonna come back next spring. I mean, Steve, you're right. But can the wording be in there that it will be brought up next spring to actually move forward with a plan? It's still gotta come up on the agenda again. If it never shows up on the agenda, then it's ground, it's done, and we're just gonna come in here and complain every spring and fall and nothing gets moved. So if the wording is put in there to say this will be readdressed,
So, I mean,
give us some confidence that, hey,
that's the recommendation from staff that we kind of keep skipping over here, is that it's to grind it, monitor through the fall farming season. During this time, the performance of the median will be observed to ensure large farm equipment can traverse it effectively. If additional modifications are found to be necessary, it is recommended that they be addressed through a separate project. Right, Snyder and Associates recommends the following. So the staff recommendation, then that's kind of the point where I think Ron and I are trying to get to, is that like, it's there, they think this is gonna work. This is a no-cost solution to us. It is in there to monitor, assess specifically large farm equipment, that's what it says in there. And then if it still doesn't work, then it's gonna be right back here for us to explore as a separate project, different recommendations.
And I think it's key though, with your guy, whoever makes the motion on what decision you make, that it's specific in that wording, so it has to be brought, just because it says it there. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
It's government, right? I mean, be specific on the notion that, hey, we're going to revalue, we're going to come up with better solutions and readdress this, not.
I think this is gonna be a continuing, item.
That's just what I think the motion has to be very specific in that.
Well, Adam, I think what we can do to kind of solve that problem is that I can direct staff to come back with some discussion on the second meeting in November. That'll be after harvest season, and we can actually have a date that we put it on the agenda and talk about it. We can do that. And so I will say, if we're gonna go this route, I'll direct staff to do that. One of the meetings in November.
I'm just saying, for me personally, I think Roger and Doug would maybe agree that just to know that there's still some future progress that could be made there. It's not just, we're gonna grind the curbs down and knowing that, hey, we can come back and revisit this. That's the key point, I think. Thank you.
Doug, I know you head south. When do you guys all head out after harvest?
November.
So,
I know what you're saying. I know how hard it is to find the money. But I'm a decision maker. I've been a decision maker all my life. And I believe when the decision, opportunity is there to make the correct decision, and that's what you need to do. And if the decision is you're gonna rip it out and you don't have the money, then we're gonna rip it out. And when the money becomes available or the grants become available, then you'll approve that and do it. You know what I mean? Whatever the cost may be. But I still think we need to get this thing settled and know what we're gonna do. Grinding the curb is gonna be a temporary fix. I don't disagree with that. It's not gonna fix it. But you can still make the decision to tear it out when the funds become available, whether that's 6 months, whether that's a year, but the decision's been made. You guys have all heard us. You know in your hearts that's what needs to be done. But we don't have to do it today. I'm not saying we have to do it today. But when the funds become available, and that's his job or whoever's, find those funds and make them available for you to do what you need to do. We don't have to do it today, but I do think decision needs to be made. Thank you.
I guess I'll give my directive that we proceed with option 2 as recommended by staff. Continue to monitor it and put it on the November agenda. I would say we put it on the first meeting, make sure we catch the snowbirds.
are you saying though that we'll have a discussion then about tearing it out, or we'll just have a discussion about whether or not it worked? And
I think we have to say that we're gonna have a discussion whether or not it worked, otherwise Snyder's not going to pay for grinding it down.
I just, in fairness to Snyder, I just wanna make sure we're not being disingenuous here. Like, their recommendation is the engineers say this is gonna work, right? And so as long as we're doing it, monitoring it with the intention of having the honest discussion, I'll respect everybody's feelings on it, right? Like, I just don't wanna be disingenuous to Snyder and say, hey, grind it down, but by the way, our mind's made up, right?
We need to have a fair evaluation on it.
I agree.
And in the meantime, we should be looking for grant money for signage, because we know that either way, we're gonna have to take the signage off of this to allow the big equipment to go up over the pedestrian median.
So was that a directive or was that a motion?
No, we don't
It's a
need,
directive.
it's direction here. Allison, am I correct here? We just need
Correct,
direction.
right now you have it set for discussion and direction. If you are going to do a motion, you have to first have a motion to take action. So that we essentially pull it out of discussion and directive, and then you would do a motion.
I think we got direction here. I don't need that. I think we need to go through all of that just to do it. I've got,
Well, if we make a motion, then it's more formal.
but then you gotta, as she said, you gotta, true, but we've also, I think it's gonna be reflected in the minutes, and correct me if I'm wrong, Allison, but we've reflected in the minutes that the direction from council to staff has been the following, basically, we go ahead and grind it down, Schneider will cover the cost of that, and we follow up and with the discussion in November again on the results of how that fared. Is that correct? What we're looking at?
Because Snyder is essentially an arm of your staff almost, right? You can give them directive without it having to be a motion.
Fair enough?
Okay, I've got, anybody else want to chime in here? Because we got, what, 3, I think, or 4, we're 5, where are we at here?
Yeah, I would agree with option 2, and I would like to revisit it in hopes that the farmers give it a fair chance, and let's come back and have an honest conversation about it and see if it's a viable solution for all parties.
And in the meantime, we're looking at options for grants. Is that what I'm hearing as well?
I think we need to look at something for.
Okay.
Sure.
I think either way, signage is an issue because they have to take the signage off the median
Right.
in order for the larger combines to get up on there.
Mayor and council, if I may, we'll work on the signage component of it. And I know there's been a lot of discussion about the signage within the actual median itself coming out. And to one of the points that was made, we do want to make sure that folks know that median is still there, even with the grinded curb. So depending on cost and budgets, if the signage doesn't appear to be, or if it appears to be something we could absorb, that may be something we explore sooner than later, just to make sure folks know that median is still present. If it is a larger expense, then we certainly will pursue the grants and probably pursue those regardless, but just want to be clear that, we would look at signage regardless at this point, just to make sure that folks do know that median is still there and we don't create additional safety hazards.
Thank you.
You have clear what you need? All good? Okay. Okay,
Thank you, AP.
yeah.
And we've
Thank you for the discussion to everyone too. Appreciate it, so.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move on to item 2, discussion direction regarding animal control in the city of Indianola.
Yeah, I will just go ahead and give a quick overview on this, just as a continuation from our last city council meeting. Direction from city council was for staff to receive communication from ARL expressing their intent to partner with the city of Indianola for animal control services. We did receive that communication from ARL expressing their intent to partner with us. They did go one step further and did provide a draft agreement as well within that communication. That draft agreement is currently undergoing both staff and legal review to ensure that we understand it and again do our due diligence on the staff component of it. With the status of where we are currently at, we did bring forward a resolution tonight that would give council the opportunity to give staff direction to go ahead and start the termination process with Kayakota. As a reminder, that is a 60-day termination process, so by passing that resolution, we would construct the appropriate documents from there to begin those proceedings, given that we do have the communication from ARL that they are interested in partying with the city of Indianola and have gone so far as to provide a draft agreement.
For the audience that may not know, we did receive information from Kayakota. What was that last communication received for them about services in Indianola?
Yeah, that's correct. As we've been going through this process, we've been kind of looking at differentiating between vicious bite animals versus non-vicious, non-bite animals that may become encountered through the course of police operations. Because we've had such a long-standing history and partnership with Kayakota, we did inquire if they would be interested in taking on those non-vicious, non-bite animals that are encountered during police operations. The board did inform us that they were not interested in that relationship at this time, so that is why we proceeded again to follow down the path of ARL for what would be both animals.
Can I just clarify something on that? Just for the people at home who may be watching and haven't followed everything through. What Kyakota said was that they would not take on a contract that was only to take on the dogs that we ask, specifically the aggressive, vicious dogs, without serving the entire community, such as stray dogs. So what we're asking ARL to do is a different model than what we currently have with Kyakota. I just want to make sure people understand that.
Any other discussion?
I want to bring up some things, because I'm not in favor of this, for the simple fact that it is a public safety issue in my mind. It has risk factors, and I know that it wasn't budgeted. The 54,000 was kicked out, and we are in tough budget times. However, some of the risks that we are facing by essentially eliminating animal control could have budget implications as well. Workers' compensation claims due to putting officers in the position of handling and transporting aggressive and vicious dogs in high-charge situations, such as arrests following domestic response resulting in arrest, and simply being transporting by an officer in uniform unknown to the animal can be intimidating to that animal. That could cause the animal to act out. Increased risk of motor vehicle accidents as officers are transporting dogs to ARL. Dogs will likely be distracting due to their behavior and barking. I don't know what the plan is with the vehicle. I believe I heard that you were gonna use the truck and outfit it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you wanna answer that question. Chief, thank you.
Yes. We have two trucks, a fully marked truck and an unmarked truck. And yes, we are working through that, and we will listen to ARL's recommendations on the best enclosure for the animals and how to affix it to the vehicle.
So the kennels for the dogs will be in the cabin or in the back of the truck?
In the bed of the truck.
In the bed of the truck,
Yes.
okay, so that negates the point I just made, the barking.
Yes.
However, when it's 15 below zero, you have a dog in the back of,
Yes.
in the bed of the truck.
Again, we're gonna look at ARL's recommendation. A lot of those kennel enclosures do have winter covers.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. There's also an increased risk to our community and visitors due to the animals at large. And I just looked at the numbers that were provided to us. Last year, Kyakota took in 144 dogs. Year before, 155 dogs. So and that doesn't include the dogs that people post out on boards and chase down themselves.
Correct.
So
A lot of that's taken care of on Facebook, absolutely.
So we have dogs running at large. I know I've received a number of calls saying people have felt unsafe with dogs wandering neighborhoods. I personally have had a situation in my neighborhood where Multiple animals have been killed, and one of my neighbors was bitten trying to save his pet, and a couple other people who were scratched trying to save their pets from the same dog. Thankfully, once you started ticketing them for animal at large, the fence was miraculously repaired. So fines do work. I just feel like there are a lot of things to put in place, even if we were to end the Kyakota contract today. It leaves us only 60 days to have all processes in place. Ordinances potentially updated as spelled out in ARL's email to the two of you. Vehicles outfitted, a temporary shelter location identified and set up, staff trained, and the contract executed with ARL. One example of a process is what we're going to do if we take in a dog and find out that it is vaccinated, but we are unable to locate the owner. What are we gonna do with the dog?
If we know who the owner is, through chip reading or other means, and we cannot get the dog to the owner, is that, I didn't hear a question in there, what was
Yeah,
the actual
so-
question?
What are we gonna do if we take in a dog and find out that it is vaccinated, but we're unable to locate the owner?
The animal or the dog is gonna go to ARL.
So we are transporting just dogs at large.
In the scenario you gave me, yes. I'm not just gonna turn a dog loose back to the street just because we can't get a hold of the owner. If that is your concern.
That is my question.
Yes.
Yeah.
That'd be irresponsible of the city, and I represent the city in that situation.
Yeah.
My officers.
I was just curious because they didn't fall into the three categories that we had been talking about. And we hadn't addressed kind of that situation.
Yeah, I mean, we have to have some flexibility in this, obviously. I mean, we're not gonna go run down the street after every dog, by no means. But if we can't get a hold of the owner, we have custody of the animal, we're just not gonna turn it loose. That'd be irresponsible.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
And then, and I sent this to you guys, but housing animals and how that's all gonna work. I know you said it's only for a short amount of time, but it's still setting up a temporary housing shelter of some kind in one of our facilities.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're a little later than just early on this, but some type of kennel maybe in the Sallyport and it would be a very brief amount of time if we were to have to do that. We talked about minimum officers on the streets. You guys don't know that we do have a minimum. But the most likely time we're going to have an issue with that is between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m., 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. And I can tell you right now, I don't think I've ever had a dog call at that time other than a barking dog, which is a confined animal. It's just the noise that's the issue.
I guess my last point is that both employees and constituents' opinions matter to me. And 100% of PD staff said they did not want this responsibility due to the risk. The community overwhelmingly spoke out as well, saying that they did not want a community that did not have animal control. And I realize that I may be in the minority on supporting Kyakota on this, but the bottom line is I just want to make sure that if we're gonna move to the ARL, that we have a smooth transition and we have everything figured out. And I know that there are gonna be some bumps in the road, but, communication and, process definition is crucial. And also making sure that we have everyone trained. And the last thing I want is for an officer to get injured.
And I know none of you have seen the contract yet, that's correct, Manager. However, that is addressed. I've seen the draft contract. We're gonna give our notes to ARL for a couple minor fixes, and then I believe at some point you are going to
Yeah, absolutely. We wanna make sure we just have an opportunity for staff and legal review and we present documents to city council that they're in a finalized draft state for consideration.
But that is addressed, training is addressed in that contract. And it will remain in that contract.
I just feel like that we have a lot of things to tackle in 60 days if we were to decide tonight to end the Kyakota contract. And where that leaves us, with the city with no contract in place perhaps, and not all of our ducks in a row, especially if we need to pass ordinances.
What ordinances are we gonna have to pass?
In the email that we got from ARL, they spelled out some different things that,
I think they said they wanted to see, I mean, as far as you know, Brian, are we in compliance with what they want, or are we gonna have to change our ordinances?
I don't know the answer to that standing here tonight. I know we're gonna have to change our policy from the police department standpoint on, policy and procedure is my purview there. So to go with the new model, we'll have to change our policy to match that. But I can't answer specifically if, to your question there about the ordinance.
But based on what you've seen, obviously that we haven't, do you feel comfortable that within the 60 days, you'll be ready to go?
I feel like Councilmember Sones is correct. There's some work to do, but some of that work has already been started. I'm approximately 30%, 35%, somewhere in there, through the policy portion of things. Because we do have two neighbors up the road, Carlisle and Norwalk, that have gone to this model. I do not have to reinvent the wheel. So I'm just taking what fits and what we're looking at for our contract and making that work. Obviously, there'll be a review on that as well. To Councilmember Sone's point, there is equipment order, there's training to do. I believe if we get to that signed contract portion, that could be taken care of in relatively short order.
Thanks.
Other questions from council?
have we looked at the equipment yet and do we know the cost?
I have informally looked online at some equipment. Yes, I have, and I pulled some pictures, but I have not conferred with ARL that this is the specific thing we need. I need their input yet. Want to get to the contract resolution first, and then we can talk.
Fair enough.
What do we need to buy? What do I need to approach council with for equipment? Yes. But I definitely have some pictures on my computer that I've looked at several times. Did you have something?
So, I just wanted to ask Brian, because I've been meaning to ask you this, but are you okay with us going to that model?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
It speaking with the Carlisle chief and the Norwalk chief, it is working up there. I don't see why it would not work down here.
Thank you.
There's no more questions here. Mike, did you want to say anything else on this?
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thorough discussion.
Okay, so what's the direction here, folks? The direction is that you want to pass the resolution?
It's a resolution.
Yeah.
I still just think there's a lot we have to try to figure out before we go to the new model. That can come with a risk. In my opinion, if we cancel something and we still have a lot of loose ends that we have to tie up. Bob kind of said it, a magical contract we haven't seen. So I'm being asked to make a decision off of something I haven't seen. So, I mean, I said it 2 weeks ago, I needed to see a contract, I haven't seen a contract, so.
I would like to move forward and terminate the contract.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion.
On the resolution approving direction regarding the contract with Kyakota. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I would just, to respond to Steve, I understand completely. That's why I asked, and I think Ron, probably why you asked Chief if he was comfortable with this new process and my question about timing. I'm not putting words in your mouth, Brian, I'm not trying to do that, Chief, excuse me. I'll learn. I just, based on what you've said, I think we can go forward, particularly understanding, when we talked earlier about kicking the can down the road, we've done that a couple times now, in my mind, with this waiting to where we got to at least a point I could be comfortable with it, and I think I'm there, so but I respect what you're saying. I'm not seeing the contract yet. I'm gonna put my faith in those two people that have seen it, or most of it.
Further questions? Hearing none, do you have a motion? Would you call the roll, please?
Councilmember Armstrong?
No.
Slows?
No.
Lane?
Aye.
Ray?
Aye.
Dolly?
Aye.
Motion carries 3-2.
Fails 3-2.
No, it carries 3.
Carries.
Carries
Gotta have
3-2.
4.
No, 3-2, correct?
I believe for this, it's 3-2.
Doug said 4 last meeting.
Yeah, but that's incorrect. It's 3-2, it
That
carries.
was always what Doug had said on 4, which is why we had an EIB complaint as well.
And I certainly wouldn't want to second guess Doug, but my understanding is 3-2. I'm happy to look into that for you guys.
Because it was 3-2 last time.
And, but it was an incorrect decision.
I'm just saying it was 3-2 last time. We've had, I'm just saying, I'm not questioning you. I want to make sure it's right.
Yeah.
And I don't disagree with you, Steve.
Just because that's what we've operated with Doug.
No, absolutely. And
Because you'd clarified earlier, it's got to be 4 on something in the consent agenda.
Yes.
So.
No, he clarified needed to be.
it had to be 3-2 in the consent agenda.
Is what he said.
Yeah. I will look it up right now.
No, that's fine, yeah. I don't want us to cancel something if we shouldn't have canceled it because of the 3-2. And then, I mean, honestly, then we're 2 weeks down the road from 3-2 anyway, so.
Better look it up.
I mean, we could probably go to the new business, right? Votes happened.
Yeah, we could,
Proceed while you're doing that.
yeah.
I'm sorry, what's the question?
You could proceed while I look it up.
That'd be fine. Okay. So we have a new business then, resolution approving a site plan for Pickard Commerce Park Plat 1, lots 4 and 5, 404 South 21st Street. Bill, I think this is you.
Mayor, thank you. Our applicant in this case is iTown Investment Group LLC, represented by Jason Ludden with Snyder and Associates. Applicant is requesting approval of a site plan for a commercial style, industrial style business in the new Pickard Commerce Park Plat 1. Located south of Highway 92, east of South 15th Street. Together, these two lots are just under 2.5 acres. Address is 404 South 21st Street. It's the area outlined in red on the screen. This is part of the plat that is zoned M2 General Industrial. The site plan is for like a general warehousing facility. It could be contractors' warehouses, certain types of storage, very, very light uses, woodworking, hobby style uses. Really just kind of anything that you want to use your certain space for. There'd be 3 buildings on the site, Two of them are 60 by 180 and 10,800 square feet in area. Two of them have 6 units. The third building is 60 by 120, 7,200 square feet, and that one will have 4 units. The buildings will be about 23 feet in height. These parcels make up lots 4 and 5. There'll be a lot tie agreement that'll be recorded with the final plat. That means that the lots, while you can have these 3 buildings covering the 2 lots, they can't be sold independently of one another. Everything will go together for the life of the lot. Access into the site will be from the future South 21st Street. Either way you look at it, either 2 spaces are required or 16 spaces are required. For the sake of this project, I'm using the 1 per employee at max shift, sort of using each individual space as its own owner per se. So there's 22 spaces on the site, including 1 accessible space. So the parking does meet our ordinance. 5-foot sidewalk will be installed along the entirety of lots 4 and 5. And the applicant is showing 3 pedestrian walkways into the site from the public sidewalk. So everything related to that is in compliance. The site will be serviced with public utilities, which are currently being installed or have been installed as part of these plat improvements. The overall stormwater detention will occur at the south end of the site with that basin there. 15% of the project area is required to be open space, and they're providing 47.7% open space, including a landscape buffer along the east property line because it's M2 adjacent to an A district. So the landscape plan is in compliance as well. The buildings are proposed to be constructed of white ribbed metal wall panels, dark metal wainscot panels, stone veneer, masonry, and windows. The elevations demonstrate compliance with industrial style buildings per our ordinance. The site plan is in conformance with our subdivision regulations, zoning ordinance, and comprehensive plan. Staff does recommend approval of the site plan for Pickard Commerce Park Plat 1, lots 4 and 5. Happy to take any questions.
Looks good. Yeah.
Any other questions for Bill?
I don't have any.
So, motion then to approve?
Yeah, I'd make a motion to approve the site plan for Pickard Commerce Park, Plat 1, lots 4 and 5.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Dolby,
Aye.
Armstrong,
Aye.
Stones,
Aye.
Lane,
Aye.
Braden.
Motion carries 5-0. Do we have an answer to your question?
Yes, and Doug was right. So under 17.03, the exercise of your power, when you did a motion, because we did the consent, you could do 3-2. With a because it's a resolution, it has to be a majority of all the members of council. So that would have required a 4, because you're 6. Yeah. So he was correct. Resolution requires a majority vote of all of the members. Now, not all the members have to be present, but it means I have to have 4.
Okay, so that one failed then.
So that one failed.
Okay.
Does it at all, or is it?
Yes, just because it fails now, it doesn't mean you couldn't bring a resolution forward, like if you had the contract in place and you won.
Well, I don't know if I can speak to it or not. So just Mayor and Council, if I may, just for staff's benefit, I just want to be clear. How would you like to proceed on that item? Do you want to have a finalized contract in place for us to cancel the agreement with Kayakota? Again, just I want to be respectful to Brian's time, to my time, as well as working with ARL. At the end of the day, I serve at the pleasure of council and want to make sure that what staff is providing you is what you were seeking on this item. So my request would be just to understand from council's perspective what you would like to see from staff to feel comfortable to proceed. And as staff, we will certainly work diligently to provide that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with, potentially going to the new model. I just need to know what we're getting into. And that's what I said last time too. I need to know what the terms and conditions of the contract are to make that move. Because what if we don't like the terms and conditions of the contract? It could have been 4-2 tonight, right? but then maybe we get the terms and conditions of the contract and the other four are like, ooh, I don't like that. And now it's 4-2 the other way. That's what I need and what I've wanted to move forward. I have faith that Chief is gonna move on all the other things of, you know, proper kenneling and all of that. And that kind of helps him get that time to do all of that. But for me, that was always my big hangup is I wanted to know, you know, when ARL was ready for us, what the terms and conditions were. Was there gonna be a location on the southern part of Des Moines for us to go to for sure? Not a maybe. That was always my big thing on doing it last time, was not having any of the information.
It's the same for me. I wanna know the terms of the contract. And I guess, do we know why it's taking so long?
Well, Mayor and Council, I just want to remind, the direction to staff was to get a letter of intent to move forward with ARL, which we did between the last meeting and this meeting. We didn't actually expect they would get a draft contract back so soon. So ultimately, we just received that contract within the last week or so. And Brian and I both reviewed it, sent it off to legal. So ultimately, we're working through that.
Okay.
But
Sorry
yeah,
about that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Just wanted to clarify that we are working through it.
So it's fair to say that we may have that next meeting.
I don't want to commit to that at this time. We still are pending legal review through Brick Gentry. Brian and I have still got our comments on it. We haven't had a chance to go back to ARL and present our comments to them. Usually there's a little bit of back and forth. Best practice is that when we bring a contract for city council to review, it's in a finalized format. If we circumvent that, I mean, it just opens up this process and probably elongates it. So I wouldn't feel comfortable committing that, knowing we have to have items for our packet essentially a week from today, that we're gonna be able to accomplish all of that in time for our next meeting.
So in essence, we're spending another $4,000 per week until we get the information that Councilmember Sullins and Councilmember Armstrong are wanting.
Yeah, the terms of the agreement, I think, comes out to a little over $4,000 a month, if I'm not mistaken.
4,500.
Okay. Everybody have their questions answered then? So just for I'm clear for the future then, any simple motion on,
So
because we got conflicting information, so I wanna make sure.
So motions, regular motions, consent agenda items, all of those are majority vote of quorum. But resolutions, or if, let's say we were going to draft, well, you do by a resolution for an ordinance, right? Resolutions have to be based on your own ordinance 17.03, have to be a majority of the full number of council members, regardless of if they're present.
I was reading an email incorrectly.
And I apologize, I had not read 17.03 before, but now I have, so.
All right, so city manager's report.
All right, let's see. Community and Economic Development Director, so we ended up with an even 30 applicants for the position. We completed first round interviews with 5 semifinalists, all highly qualified, great individuals. We were able to narrow that down to 3 finalists who we are planning to bring in a week from tomorrow for final round interviews, so we're excited to have them on site. Get to show them Indianola, our great community, and ultimately excited to bring on a new person into that role. Along the same lines of recruiting new members, as council previously approved, the Indianola Wellness Campus Member Services Coordinator, Doug is currently diligently going through the 140 applications that we received for that position. So safe to say there's a little bit of interest, and Doug has some work ahead of him to narrow that down. I just want to comment, as being a new member to the community, just very impressed with all the events. I don't want to belabor it because they've all been mentioned, but I had the benefit of experiencing all these events for the first time. So attending the Warren County Fair, the Indianola Summer Art Festival, the National Balloon Classic, as well as volunteering a little bit with the Celebrate Warren County Parade. Just want to express my deepest thanks and gratitude to all the organizers and individuals who make these events possible for our community and for our region. They're incredibly impactful, and they provide a great environment for a lot of fun for some of our folks. Downtown Dough Day, boosting local businesses. So I want to highlight an exciting initiative from the Indianola Main Street. They're organizing a Downtown Dough Day this Thursday, August 7th. A huge thank you to the Executive Director, Erica Roberts, the Main Street Board, and all the investors and sponsors for putting this together. This initiative will inject $60,000 directly back into our downtown businesses in just one day through gift card sales. If anyone would want any more information, please check out the Indianola Main Street's Facebook page. Illuminate Indianola, the mural project, has officially kicked off. I'm happy to announce that the project is currently underway. It's being spearheaded by our Indianola Public Arts Commission. This week they'll begin work on the beautiful mural between 111 and 115 North Buxton Street. For more information, please check out the city's website. Our city pool is currently closed right now due to an incident that has occurred. So they are taking on sanitary measures. So we will hope that will open up in the near future, but encourage folks to stay tuned to social media. The pool will close for the entire season on August 17th. So as soon as the pool reopens, please enjoy it quickly and often before it closes for the season on August 17th. We are going to celebrate City Hall Selfie Day on August 12th. This will be the 10th anniversary of City Hall Selfie Day. It's an opportunity to celebrate public service and show pride in local government institutions by coming here and taking a selfie in front of City Hall. The library will also encourage folks to stay tuned to our social media and other channels. We will be closed for 3 days, we anticipate in August, and this will be to complete the permanent repair to the skylights. Council and public may remember that we had some unfortunate damage to our skylights. We did complete a temporary repair to get the facility operational once again in a safe manner. We will have to close for a few days to complete those permanent repairs. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Jake? Anything on future agenda items and discussion on any action there? We do have the abatement, I think, on September 21st, if that's correct. Is that right?
Planning for a study session?
Yep. And we'll talk about it at that point in time. With that, then, I will take a motion to move into a closed session in accordance with Iowa Code Section 2151C to discuss strategy with legal counsel on matters that are presently in litigation or where litigation is imminent and where its disclosure would likely be to prejudice or disadvantage the government.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Dolly?
Aye.
Armstrong?
Aye.
Stones?
Aye.
Lane?
Aye.
Ring?
Motion carries 5-0. We'll take about a 3-minute break here and then we'll get going.
Council, would you like me to stay